Hello, everyone. This is Mark Anthony with AI Edge Podcast, the place where we bring you the best of the best doctors in their niche and what they do. Today, I have a special guest, Dr. Joseph Murphy. Yes, you can find him at newportmesawellness.com, newportmesawellness.com. Today, we're going to be talking about one great subject, but multiple things, because Dr. Joseph does many things to help many people with their body and their mind. Today, we'll be talking about how do you know if you have Lyme disease? And this is going to be by the Lyme Doc. That's what they call them. That's what the license plate says. And that's all I have. Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph, for being here.
Hey, Mark, you can call me Dr. Joe. Everybody calls me Dr. Joe. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me. This is an awesome adventure. I love podcasts and this is great. So how do you know if you have Lyme disease? Well,
Yeah.
so Lyme disease is symptom based. It really is. It's, people that don't feel bad, that, aren't sick and stuff, don't worry about Lyme disease, right? It's one of those things. It's the people that have all these symptoms and nobody can figure it out, right? And they have brain fog. They're diagnosed with things like fibromyalgia or, the beginning stages of MS or rheumatoid arthritis, but they don't have any of the blood markers that will go along with this, right? And they'll have gut issues, joint pain, just rashes on their body. It goes on and on. More severe cases, they'll get things like early MS symptoms, Parkinson's symptoms, and even as severe as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS symptoms, right? But so one of the things that's, when patients come in to see me and they don't really know, they're coming in for something else, right? And I go, have you been tested for Lyme? And they go, no, the doctor says there's no Lyme out here, or stuff like that. Like, really, like, oh my God, like, and these doctors don't want to believe, the medical doctors don't want to believe that there's Lyme. And what was it? Monterey. That my one patient that came to see me, the doctor told him there's no Lyme in Monterey, and when I tested him, he was CDC positive, which is pretty hard to do. So what we want to do is we want to take a real thorough history and sort of, most of the time, those type of symptoms, people don't get all those symptoms at once. They'll get one symptom if they have like something else going on, right? So we want to get you tested, and that's the most important thing. And of course there's an issue. I use the company called Immunoscience, and they're out of Los Angeles, and it's Dr. Vajanian from Cyrex. He did all the food sensitivities and all the leaky gut profiles. Now he has Alzheimer's testing, and he's absolutely brilliant. But he keeps it at $550, and you get it in a week, and it's fast, right? The only thing is
Wow.
that you got to get the blood drawn. All right. So that's how he keeps the price down. You can go big ticket for hygienics, right? And they have, expensive, great testing, or you can go to Vibrant, right? Those are the three that really have the market right now. And they're all easy to go to and easy to get done. And usually the results are fairly fast, right? At least it is for immunoscience, right?
Mhm.
So I really like that.
Wow. So before we go a little bit deeper in that, tell us, how did you get into this profession? You're just a nice story on that.
Well, okay, so back, I started as a regular chiropractor doing, you know, personal injury cases and workman's comp and stuff that I absolutely hated. Right. And I even like did reports for insurance companies, and I was a QME and all that stuff. And then everything started hitting. In 2005, Arnold Schwarzenegger took away workman's comp in California. And
Mhm.
I had hundreds of thousands of dollars that was owed out to me by the state of California for legit work comp cases that I never got paid. And
Wow.
and that was, and then 2008 started to hit, and everybody lost their insurance. It all changed, the Obamacare. So people that had really good insurance. So in 2009, I'm just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, this is like terrible. Right. And I started finding out about a couple of different groups of chiropractors that got together and trained. And I started training with this group. There's about 300 guys in there, and it split off into another group. And one was a functional neurology group, and the other one was more functional medicine. And I started doing some training, and I started learning. And then, back in 2012, I had a couple of patients with Lyme, right? And they go, "Oh, we've been diagnosed with Lyme," and I met them. They came into my office and they were curious, because there wasn't many it wasn't even called functional medicine yet, right? It was just at the
Right.
beginning. There wasn't anybody selling functional medicine programs. There wasn't anything like that. So I, and I'm with some of the best, smartest guys, men and women in the United States and Europe, and so I'm at this weekend, like, I think it was a Apex or something, like, in Vegas. It was something to do it was a functional medicine, functional neurology weekend in Las Vegas, right? And I'm talking about, "Hey, I got these 2 Lyme patients, I don't know what to do." And some guy comes up to me, "Hey, dude, like, you shouldn't be doing Lyme. I'm the Lyme guy," right? I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay, like, all right, cool." I got a couple patients and, so he was like he was where was he? He was in Arizona. And so I told my patients they fly out there, right? And taking just what I said, like, go see him. He says he's the best, right? He sells them $4,500 worth of supplements each, right? And that was it. So they were when I started figuring out how to do Rife technologies, right?
mhm.
True Rife, they were my first patients that I worked on. So I felt so bad I did it for almost nothing because, this doctor just sold him supplements, that was it. And the supplements he sold him were absolutely, they no, not good for Lyme disease or
Right.
anything else basically, you know. It was just low grade stuff. But that's how I got started and we started with them and was really interesting, it's really tough. You got to get your first patient better. Know what I mean? You gotta get your first, and it takes, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. So, I got those guys better at the same time, and they got better really fast, like 6 to 8 months, and they were in my office they were doing, back then, I didn't have the PEMF and the hyperbarics yet. So, I was just doing things like E-stim on them, trying to, do muscle stim things, and laser, to deal with the joint pain and supplementation. But they were doing the Rife at night, and we trained, got some training in how to do proprietary programming with the Rife, and did really well with it. And then I started getting and they moved. They went to South Africa or something somewhere, and I've never heard from them. They went off the grid. They got better, and never heard from them again. But I started getting people better and started rolling and I started getting, it was nice. And then I get some alternative other things going on, like alternative cancer, people with does this treat cancer? And it does, it can support cancer. So that's, done some of that and, but mostly Lyme.
Let's talk a little bit deeper on that. What are some symptoms so that that you might possibly have Lyme or people
Okay.
have? Yeah.
All right. So full body weakness, full body pain, like just they call it fibromyalgia, right?
Okay.
And 99% of the people with fibromyalgia or that diagnosis have Lyme disease.
Really?
They will be, yes, they will come back with Lyme titers. They'll show a lot of positives on that. The brain fog's really big. The gut and the brain is really, really important. So the brain fog and the gut issues. That's, so when your gut gets inflamed, you no longer have the ability to make the same amount of neurotransmitters. Over, 87% of all your transmitters are made in the gut lining. So if your gut gets inflamed, you're not going to make your dopamine, your serotonin, your norepinephrine, you know, and there's even more than that. I can't even remember all of them. And you're not going to feel good. You're going to be
Mhm.
anxious. You're going to be depressed. You're going to, not feel good. And the joint pain comes along with it. Also, there's subspecies of Lyme that will cause different symptoms. So it depends where you get bit in the country. It used to really be where you got bit in the country. Now it's all over the place. It's commingled, so it's not even that accurate anymore. Like, it could be, the person could have been in Boston and flying on a jet out here and got bit, you know, and so you can't really tell. But yeah, the symptoms, those are the big ones. Those, the brain fog, the gut issues, the joint pain, full body joint pain. And then
Is there a way you cannot get this, like, say, before you get it? Like, is there something that you can start to take, or maybe that
okay, so that's a great, Mark, that's a great question. So if you think you've been bit, right? If you've been in a situation where, you've been in tall trees, pine trees, things like that, scrub pine back east, or just anywhere there's possibilities of ticks, or you found a tick on you, even if
Mhm.
it was loose, or you pulled a tick off you that was embedded, you need to get on doxycycline.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you need to do like 3 weeks of doxycycline, and that's usually a good if it's fresh, like in the first few weeks, it should work really good. All
Okay,
right.
wow.
And because you don't want to see me. You don't want to be coming to my office because that means, your life is being wrecked.
Wow. So let's bring it back a little bit. When you started working with Lyme disease and you helped that first person, how did that work? How long was the process, and how did that make you feel like, wow, I'm onto something?
Felt great. It really felt good. And and it happened really fast. It was like they totally changed from 6 to 7 months in, and, I had like 3 or 4 of those too, like patients that really responded fast to treatment. And then I had a bunch of patients that took 12 months, 14 months, 18 months.
Right.
So it was just I was like getting really confused on, how long it really takes, and everybody's
I
different.
see. Right.
I just lucked
Right.
I just lucked out, like
Mhm.
my first patient. So I was telling people, "Yeah, in 6, 7 months, you'll be fine."
Right. So now you're like, well, everyone's different, but let me tell you what I've worked with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
gives you a broad perspective. That makes sense though.
But that
So
takes 2, 3, 4 years right there to get that many patients, because it was all word of mouth back then, They'd all tell each other. They'd be on Facebook blogs talking about me. It's almost like insane going on those, you know?
oh yeah, there's huge Facebook groups on it. Mostly
Yeah.
not how to, from what I see, not how to get rid of it, but how to maintain, just to feel decent, which is sad. So that
Yeah.
means they haven't met the Lyme Doc yet. So we'll have to put this inside that page group, the
Yeah.
little Facebook page. With that being said, not just Lyme disease, talk to us about other modalities of things that you offer in your office in case if people are looking for something other, if they don't have Lyme disease. Maybe we can go through that.
Well, okay. Well, let's say you have autoimmune, right?
Okay.
You have thyroid issues, or you have, rheumatoid arthritis, or something like that, or even diabetes and things like that. And there's, we have so many different modalities. So right now we do PEMF, pulse electromagnetic field therapy. We have 3 full units that you lie on, and with accessories. They're Pulse Center NRG Pro XLs. They're actually Pro XLs now, and they're the best made. They are like every biohacker talks about these, right? Exclusively. No one's talked about any other unit, and these have been the gold standard since 2014,
Wow.
you know? And I've had them since 2014. So they're absolutely incredible. And, that's 12 years, and we do oxygen therapy with it. So while you're on it, you're getting, 7.5 liters of 96% pure oxygen. So that's sort of pulls the oxygen in. And, so also we have a far and near infrared health mate sauna that goes to 170 degrees. So you can
Oh
go in there
wow.
and cook. We also have the Hocket, which is the hypothermic ozone carbonic acid therapy that you go in, and it's a 30-minute steam sauna that pulls out all the toxins out of you. So it's a great detox modality right there.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about the PMF on what that helps with and what you've seen help people that have come in to help them get better?
Okay, so I call the PMF the fix it machine. It is absolutely incredible. Like with the long COVID people that were
Right.
coming in, right? And, the Lyme people were getting destroyed during COVID, right? They couldn't even move. They were just people that got COVID that had like dormant Lyme, got their Lyme back full blown. It was crazy. Or if they got the vaccine, right? Their Lyme came back raging.
Right.
So, but the long COVID people, they were like they were dying. I mean, so we would have them on the PEMF, have them wrapped with the accessory pad, and they're getting 40,000 gauss of treatment, and we're saving their lives, and That's back when we had hyperbaric available, and it was incredible. But we can treat sports injuries, back pain, neck pain, elbow pain, knee pain. You know, any autoimmune we we can work on. It's just it goes on and on. So we also do it on the head. We also do
Hmm.
transcranial electromagnetic stim. And this is the really cool thing. Mark, this is like, people that have insomnia, right? I've gotten people that have 10 years of insomnia, taking all these drugs, right? Now, don't tell them to get off their drugs. I can't do that. That's not my scope of practice. But I'm telling, look, I would just see how it feels. They're on the mat for 2 or 3 treatments, and they're getting deep, restful sleep. What happens is the full body and the PMF on the brain, the transcranial electromagnetic stim,
Right.
pumps the GABA in the brain, right? It stimulates the GABA, which will influence the melatonin, and you're getting deep, restful sleep and vivid dreaming. And these people, guys, like, and I have to tell them all, oh my God, you're going to get like really weird dreams, right? And I get a phone call from one guy. He goes, yeah, my wife and I robbed a bunch of banks last night in our dreams, right? And crazy stuff. I mean, like, I can't even tell you on there, like, some of the
Wow.
stuff I've heard, it's just it's like, okay, cool, that's our fix-it machine. The PEMF is the gold standard for cranking up ATP in the body. People talk about red light therapy. These are 40,000 Gauss. Your whole body's getting stimulated. So you got
Wow.
cellular detox, right? You have an increase in energy. Your immune system cranks. It does everything. PMF is the godsend and the Germans made it in the 30s, you know?
Wow. Of
You know,
course.
everything in my office is German designed or German made, or it's just
It's
yeah,
funny when I go work out at the gym, all the design is German, the weights. And I'm like, these are some crazy looking weights, but they work.
yeah.
Like the creativity. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit more about like the hyperbaric chamber. What have you seen that treat and help people? And why a hyperbaric? What's the whole big fuss about it?
Well, the hyperbaric is, one, you got somebody sitting in a tank having oxygen, they're breathing oxygen, but they're at a lower, they're like underwater basically.
Hmm.
They're in the atmosphere. So, our tanks were 1.3, 1.4 tanks, and the harder tanks go to, like 1.8, 2.0, 2.2, right? And what happens is it shrinks the oxygen cells, it condenses the oxygen cells, and they can get to spots in the body that they normally can't get to.
Wow.
So like brain, right? It'll go to certain parts of the brain and it just gets in there and it carries more oxygen. So it condenses it and it carries more oxygen. So it works really good for any type of TBI, traumatic brain injury, any type of thing where, you need healing, and anything that doesn't like oxygen. So cancer doesn't like oxygen, right? Cancer doesn't like four things. It doesn't like oxygen, it doesn't like ATP, it doesn't like ketones, right? And it doesn't like alkalinity. It wants it acid. It wants it full of glucose. It wants it, hypoxic, right? And those are so right there, putting oxygen in, and Lyme is also anaerobic.
Oh wow.
All right, so it doesn't like oxygen. That the Borrelia is a spirochete. It's a corkscrew bacteria, and it doesn't like oxygen. You know,
Okay,
doesn't like
awesome. Now,
air.
you also said, I know that we were talking in the conversation, and I don't want to mess your flow up, but you also said you use like a shockwave, I believe, or
Oh,
something.
softwave TRT. So yeah, so with our people with really bad, this is another German technology. So this is made in Germany. It's called softwave tissue regenerative technologies, and this is incredible technology. So I was looking at this right before COVID, and then COVID shut everything down, and they sort of disappeared for a little bit, and then they came back, and
Right.
and I got it, and it is a let me explain what it is. It is a German made, and it's been in Germany for a long time, treating athletes and fixing all these people and doing incredible things. And it's an incredible product, right? Tissue regenerative technology. It does everything from helping joints regenerate to diabetic ulcers to, start to heal. And and I know because I've seen it and I've had it happen. I've seen it happen. And it's incredible. So What it is, it's fourth generation lithotripsy. That's basically what I was told, right? It is it's a, excuse me, it's electrohydraulic soft shock wave. So what it does, it comes out, this sound wave comes out at 3,355 miles an hour and into the tissue, right? Penetrates deep into the tissue and disperses all the inflammation, or a good portion of it, right? And it will
Wow.
soften up scar tissue. But the really cool thing, it sort of fakes an injury. It creates, it's not an injury, but it tells the body, oh, this is injury. You got to start fixing this area. And it stimulates a stem cell response. So you actually, if you do it like a series of treatments, you're getting, 7 to 10 weeks, you're going to see stem cells remodeling things like, partially torn meniscus or a shoulder labrum that's not severely torn. It can regenerate, and like people with wounds that don't heal, right? But with our Lyme patients, we do it on their joints because they hurt. It makes them feel better. And that's huge. It does necks, low back, shoulders, knees, feet, plantar fasciitis, you name it. I mean, it's
Frozen
another fix.
shoulder?
What's that?
Frozen shoulder?
Yes. Takes a little bit though. Yeah,
Mhm.
I do frozen shoulders. I do a lot of frozen shoulders.
Okay.
Can't
Yeah,
even say
frozen.
it.
Yeah, it's frozen.
Frozen.
Yeah, I'm
My
thawing out.
my
Uh,
lips just got frozen.
yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna unfreeze it right here. Here we go. So
See,
so you do the soft wave, and are there any other things that you do in your office that you can share with our viewers?
yeah, I have a class 4 low level laser that goes to 25 watts. It's a light force. It's incredible. It sort of got superseded by the soft wave because the soft wave does so much, but
Mhm.
the laser is still really good. So what we do with certain injuries and things, we do the soft wave every other day.
Oh,
And with some people, depending upon their package and treatment flow in the office, they might be in there 5 days, and twice a week they're getting laser on that area. So it's
perfect.
getting photobiomodulation therapy, which is different from the shock wave, but it does that healing. It does the same thing. It gets in there. It's just not takes longer. It's
Like a
just a
double
different thing.
penetration.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. It works really good.
making sure you lock in the healing.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it, you know? So, I mean,
Wow. So you're kind of like Batman. Remember Batman and Joker? He's like, where does he get these wonderful toys? I mean, you've got all these, I call them toys because, as a doctor, after a while, you're probably like, oh, I got this beautiful toy that helps this or helps this. I know it's probably the wrong way to say a toy, but I'm thinking if I was a doctor, I'd be like, I got this new toy that helps people.
yeah, but it helps me. So in 2021, February 11th, I got double knee replacement, right? I wrecked my knees playing ice hockey, surfing big waves, you know, uh, playing basketball, that stuff, right? And more ice hockey than anything, right?
Right.
And so I got my knees done and I got blood clots 3 weeks later, right? And
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. On March 1st, I got blood clots and I knew I was throwing clots and stuff. And I got hospitalized and stuff. And basically, I was down for 9 months. I couldn't do anything. Right. And there were two massive blood clots in my thigh. Right. And it messed up my lower leg and stuff. And I
Wow.
laid down all the scar tissue over the next 9 months. Right. And oh, man, it was super painful. The blood clots are really, really painful. And I was like, what am I going to do? I couldn't do hyperbaric. I couldn't do PEMF. And they didn't want me doing laser. So, the hyperbaric, the pressure could, break off a blood clot and go into my lung, or the PMF could shake it loose. Who knows, right? I mean, so I couldn't do anything for 9, 10 months, and I laid down all the scar tissue over my legs. I'm using the soft wave right now to get all that scar tissue back. And I'm also like, I'm doing training. I got back surfing again, so
Nice.
I'm down in Encinitas surfing on Sundays. With my twin brother, so that's fun.
Wow. Okay. And
Yeah,
you're back on the board.
I'm trying, man. I'm 66, man. I'm like, hey,
Hey, you just keep on going. I mean, it's so interesting with technology. When I go back, I mean, I'm a bicentennial baby, born '76, so I'm 49. But I was really close to my grandfather, and I just love the old movies. And one thing I noticed is that the people that looked 50 back then, they look like they were like 70 or 80,
no,
and it's interesting. So it's interesting. You can see how technology has actually done us a lot better. In some good ways, and then of course, there's always a negative and a positive. You always
yeah.
got the yin and the yang. But where do you see? Do you think the soft wave? I know you see a lot of people smiling after they're done because they're not able to do certain attributes, like maybe they haven't been able to move their knee or
Oh, yeah, yeah, that
yeah,
it's 90% of the people are, like, blown away right away, like, "Oh my god, that's really good," you know? It's just pricey, it's not a cheap therapy, those machines run 80, $90,000,
yeah, they
and
do
there's a lot of maintenance with it, you know,
a lot.
you gotta pay per click, you
I
know,
know.
per pulse, I mean, it's but it works, and it works really good, you know, and
Yeah.
it's but here's the problem, there's a lot of competitors out there that don't have good machines.
Yep.
They're made in other countries that are not known for making really good things, and
Yeah.
I'm not
Uh-huh.
gonna mention but it's not German made, you know, so you're getting the Mercedes Benz, you know,
Yeah.
or
Or
you're
the
getting
pinto.
or you're getting the lime green Yugo, you know?
Lime green you go. I love it. Lord, it's a
Yeah.
stick shift I'm playing. But wow. And so where
But there's more, wait,
yeah.
but there's more.
Oh boy, but there's more. Okay, please go
There's
for it.
more. So I also do another therapy, which I just started, and this is really, really high tech,
Mhm.
and I'm incorporating this for the last since August. I started incorporating this, and we're getting some really interesting results. And what I'm using is a called native phage therapy. It's inducents. And what it is, it's an electromagnetic small vial drink that you drink twice a day, and it targets the natural phages in the body, which are viruses that are dormant. We have a ton of viruses in our body that are dormant that
Wow.
go after certain things. And so this, you can target them to go after the Borrelia. You can go target them to go after the Babesia, the Bartonella, all the co-infections. It can go after Epstein-Barr. It can go after all these different things. It can go after the different, the different molds out there. And there's a ton of different molds. Someone suffering with mold, it will go in there and you can do a 2 week, 4 week program. And it's a little on the pricey side, but it works and it's really good. And it really helps people get a good running start,
Right.
and it's made by Phage Corp and it's incredible. There's only a few of us in the United States that are actually doing this, and it's an incredible product. And it does a bunch of there's like there's parasites, there's acne, there's it just goes on and on, like all the different ones, GI issues, SIBO, SIFO, right? There's small intestinal fungal overgrowth, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. There's there's neurological. There's a really cool thing. They combine the CNS and the Lyme together, so you can get that. So you get a double whammy for the same amount. So
Wow. And what is this called?
it's called inducence. Inducens. Inducence. It's native phage therapy. And
Wow. I want to begin using it.
if anybody's interested, they could call me direct 949-292-2775. That's my cell phone. And they're
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. So do you think that something like this could even be possibly even help out with the next COVID that we get?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
As long as it's targeted for that, you know.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
it's
Wow. So it's
yeah,
a drink? It's a drink that you
yeah. It's a
can
small drink. It's a little thing. You snap it off and just suck it in on a little straw twice a day.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it works.
Amazing. I wish they had testosterone. You could just drink it instead of having to. And I was on the pickleball court the other day, and I was like, I can't wait for the day where I can just have a glass of testosterone for my. I I know that's the direction they're heading. It's gonna. It has to. I mean, instead of these injections every week. Not that I take them, but I'm actually on. I'm looking at.
Well, they're actually twice. Most people are twice a week. Yeah. Well, they do a lower amount, and that's
They do the low dosage, but still.
yeah. Well, they do. You know, half a cc. So the most people take a cc a week, and they'll do half a cc every 3 days or 4 days, something like that.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
what other goodies you got in that bag of yours? Looks like you got a whole bunch.
yeah I got, but we didn't talk about the Rife machines. And
Oh, my favorite, yeah.
I use when I started in this, Mike from True Life really, really was nice and very helpful. And there's other people doing this, and there's only a few really good programmers out there, people that can really, really do wonders with this. And the company was bought, and it's really modernized it. And I use what's called a True Life F122
Mhm.
frequency generator with a crystal hammer a Tesla bulb, and we put our proprietary programming into that, and the person sleeps at night with this 8 to 9 hours a night, and it puts out a non-harmonic electromagnetic frequency that will go after the different bacterias and viruses and things like that. And it's even things like so I got a story. So there's this guy Adam that was he started my Lyme program, right? And he got bit out in a he was in Arkansas, and he was there for, I don't know, 30 to 60 days, and he was covered in ticks and stuff, and he got sick, and he probably was sick for a couple of years and stuff, and came to see me. And so we built out his program, and he's doing this, and he's one of my early guys, like 2014, that did really well. And so he's running his program at night, and his 90-pound or 110-pound black lab would sleep on the bed with him, and the dog had this inoperable malignancy on his jaw that they wouldn't touch, right? Because it was just, it was too much, right? In 90 days, the dog slept and did the 30, slept on the bed the whole 8 to 9 hours with him, and it fell off. The cancer fell off. And the vet's like, what happened? And the dog's still alive.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it can go against, malignancies, and there's a lot of well-known cases. It's, you can't say that you treat cancer, but you can support it, and we've had some really good things, you know.
You know, I'm not it's so interesting because you hear a lot of people talk about Lyme disease, and you don't really hear the stories of people being healed. You always say, "Well, you gotta live with it. You've gotta maintain," and stuff like that. I'm not sure why. I think maybe because there's not enough information out there, like people like yourself that are talking about it.
Well, the real key is to get the body working again. See, the immune, Borrelia is notorious for overtaking the bodies. Basically, this is what happens. You're in your car, right? Your body's your car, right? And you get bit by a tick, and you don't realize you got bit by a tick. And all of a sudden, you got this circulating bacteria that corkscrews itself in. It kicks your immune system out and brings in his buddies, right? And they're driving down the road in your car, right? And they've taken it over, and they're hitting every guardrail, every pothole. And, hey, let's pick up some buddies. Hey, it's Epstein-Barr. Hey, it's cytomegalovirus. Hey, it's some parasites. Get in the back seat. And you have to deal with all this stuff. So, your immune system gets modulated, and it gets lowered down where, you know, other bugs and everything can get in there. That's why things like the PMF and killing it at night and detoxing out during the day is really important. And I got other things that we use for detox, and Zeocharge, which I don't want to talk about right now, but there's really good things. There's really really good things out there.
Wow. So what I'm hearing you say on the Lyme disease, you've helped people within 6 to 7 months, but you've also seen it from 6 to 7 months to 12 months to even up to 18
12,
months.
18 months, 24 months. Yeah. So some people that are really, really sick take a long time. So that's just the way it is. But I'm talking about, the people that listen, Mark, the people that do this, right? That follow what we tell them to do, and really stick to the program. We have like a 97% success rate of 80 to 90% of all their symptoms knocked down and keeping down. Right. And the big thing is that they got to do is they just keep running the rife. We tell them run it for 2, 3 years. Just run it every night. All you do is start up and run it, and it's super easy, and it doesn't hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt their husbands or their wives or the dog or the cat, whatever. It's going to work
Is,
great.
is this something they can take with them? They're taking with them at the home. They can borrow it.
Yes. Oh, you can travel with it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can travel. Now, I'm going out to Nashville on this Thursday,
Mhm.
right, to go see a patient that's really, really sick, and they got referred by one of my really, really great patients that did really good. She came in basically in a wheelchair and a walker, and like a month later, she was walking out, and but she took like 18 months to get better. I mean, it was bad, and she's done really good. And her husband's like, you saved my wife's life. Like, and they keep referring me more and more people. So they referred this family to me, and the girl's going through a real tough time, and she was getting all the wrong stuff from this clinic. They were treating her for a year and a half for stuff that was Lyme based. before and then they finally tested her for Lyme, and she came back, like pretty positive for Lyme, and then they put her on a whole new program and just totally twisted her. You know,
Wow.
it's
So,
crazy. There's a real lot. So let me tell you something. My average patient, right? My average patient has spent 80 to $120,000 on therapies that don't work. Right?
wow.
Yeah, it's scary. So if I can get somebody early enough and we can, keep them out of that misery.
I will be sharing this video more than you know. So let's talk about this real quick. There are people right now that are listening and that have Lyme, and they've tried everything. At least they think they have, and they're just about to give up. If you can give some sort of word on that, that would be great.
Yeah, well, it's about being able to understand that most therapies aren't designed to work. They're just designed to make somebody a lot of money. All right. I mean, it's terrible, but the Lyme literate doctors just want to keep you full of antibiotics for 2, 3 years and destroy your gut microbiome, and that's because that's all they know, right? So getting people to understand that there is hope, that you can get better. It just takes time, you know. It takes time and money. So beg, borrow, steal, and get find out what you need to do, you know
Uh,
there's yeah, yeah, it's it's pretty crazy. Lyme is it really is messed up, and a lot of doctors and a lot of people still don't think there's a lot of Lyme disease around, and we're seeing more and more of it.
So what you're seeing is the trajectory is going really more up than down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and people have to be aware. Also, they got to when they when they're out hiking and stuff like that, they got to make sure they comb through and make sure wear long sleeves and stuff, and make sure they don't get bit. You know,
Wow, Dr. Joe. That's man, I'm like, I just went hiking. I'm all thinking in my head, where did I go?
yeah.
Let's just say from now on, I'll look at a bush a little different from now
Yeah,
on.
I mean, don't hike with overhead trees and bushes. That's all, and you can find stuff that's I mean, I remember hiking the Flatirons, right, in Colorado, and oh my God, that was like I was like worried about the whole time about ticks and stuff. It was because it was all overhead and it was all pines.
Well, I'll tell you what, it makes me think differently about going to a third world country. No pun intended. I think I'm good here.
Yeah, well, it's go from the plane to the beach.
Hey, I'll stick with the beach. And Dr. Joe, I want to say thank you so much for being here. I love a lot of the modalities that you have that are focusing on healing the body instead of just putting a patch on it. You're the type of doctor, just from hearing from you, it's we're looking at the whole body. We're not just looking at putting a band-aid on it. Your focus is to see where can we go to the root, where can we kill it from there so it doesn't go up. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, it was an honor. I love your style, Dr. Joe, and everyone out there in internet land. Make sure you go to newportmesawellness.com,
Uh,
newportmesawellness.com. Any last words that you'd like to say before we sign off, Doctor?
you know, you have any questions, you can call my office, talk to my office manager, Stephanie, which is 949-650-4255. And if you can't get in touch with her, call me direct, 949-292-2775. Look, not too many doctors give out their cell phone. I'm not afraid of getting phone calls from patients. There's no really bad questions. Just don't call after like 9 o'clock at night because I'm in bed.
Yeah, I'm right behind you, right after watching
Yeah,
my
and, if you
Instagram.
got questions, ask, I have some people that, were talking to me in 2019. "Oh, I can't afford it. I can't do this. I'm not that sick," right? And they're circling back around now, and it's amazing.
Yep, and I always tell people that you're worth it. You're worth
Mhm.
it. We only have one body, and we don't get two.
Man, it's crazy. Some people really value the money more than their lives and their health, you know?
I'm with you. But on another note, thank you so much, Doctor. And
You're
I guess
welcome.
I'll see you out on the waves next time.
Alright, cool. That's good.
All right, thank you.